Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
yes, and it's been a couple weeks since we did our podcast. Not a lot of huge news other than the Starfield stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about
Mm.
the official launch date / delay, but not a lot of stuff coming out. I think maybe a little bit quiet, maybe leading up to there's going to be E3. One thing we didn't talk about that we forgot to talk about. I think I put on the list and I just forgot to include it a couple weeks ago. Was the whole E3 like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo are not going to be at
Not
E3.
being there, yeah.
Yes, because
Right.
we're used to Sony not being there. But now it's official. Microsoft and Nintendo not going to be there. But Microsoft is doing they're basically going to be there. They're doing their showcase at the same time, and it's going to be down it's where it usually is in near USC, where it's
Yeah.
like at that one
Yeah, yeah,
venue.
no.
I've been there before. I forgot the name of the actual place, but
Wasn't it named after a cryptocurrency for a while?
I don't remember. But
Yeah.
so they're doing that.
Well,
Um,
is Bethesda going to be there? Because it's like, even if Microsoft isn't there, like, surely their smaller studios would be there, like Blizzard.
yeah.
Blizzard will
So
probably be there.
what they're gonna do,
Bethesda.
and what they're gonna do is it's related to the whole Starfield thing. I guess we can just get right into it. Is with Starfield being like the official launch date is September 6th of this year.
Mhm.
But there's going to be a Starfield Direct on June 11th, 2023, which I believe is basically going to be happening like part of the Bethesda showcase, which is going to happen like right after the Xbox showcase. So there's going to be like an Xbox showcase, a Bethesda showcase, and then like a Starfield having their own kind of showcase within all of that.
Yeah.
So on June 11th, which is not too far away, which I assume I think that's whatever the E3 time is, because I know E3 is always in early June.
It's around that. It's around that time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's either right at the start of the week of E3 or it's right at the end of the week.
yeah,
Of E3.
usually Microsoft does, if I remember correctly. I think I showed up
Early
to.
week.
Yeah, you remember showing up to their
It's usually first 2 days,
showcase
if I
like
recall.
Sunday yeah. Usually it's like Sunday of E3. And usually, actually, the doors don't even open for the public, but usually they open like on Tuesday or something like that. It's like usually like
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday is like industry
Just for
people
press.
and
Yeah.
press, media, and industry people, and then usually like
I mean,
like
yeah, but it makes
Tuesday
sense
on.
makes sense for Starfield to have its own direct because it's just because of all the hype around the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it is at this point in time, it's Bethesda's flagship game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Essentially, or like the one that they're aiming to be like the next big thing. I think about this often when we talk about Starfield, which is the amount of pressure on their back for this game to be amazing. Like, it's I know I love Bethesda. Sometimes they drop the ball, but in ways that you can forgive them. They're not bugs, they're features.
Mm.
A lot of their games are like that. So, man, I'm worried about how this game is going to be perceived. I'm worried that it's going to be boring. I don't know why. Like, that's my
there.
biggest worry.
Well,
My biggest worry is that I'm worried it's going to be boring.
the I can understand that, because the problem is when you hear them say you've got like hundreds or thousands of worlds, that's scary, right? Because just manpower.
It's a lot of nothingness.
Yeah, just manpower wise, that each world is not going to be filled out to have like tons of stuff. So
All
what?
going to be procedurally generated
Yeah,
wastelands,
exactly.
just like No Man's Sky. Yeah.
And just for mining materials, which is fine, but you don't need thousands of those, and how different are they going to be? Really, you want story with this. That's the whole thing
Yeah.
about, at least for me, my love for Bethesda games. They have their big two properties, right? The Fallout, and they have Elder Scrolls.
The Elder Scrolls, yeah.
And what draws you in is like
I guess
they're-
Doom as well, technically.
Yeah, but I mean that was it. That was off
more
of
ID.
id.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more
they
id.
they
Yeah.
bought that. You know what I mean? It's not really a Bethesda. I mean, then again, Fallout wasn't their own, but they made it their own, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to follow that logic, it definitely
Here's
was
the
someone
thing,
else's
Dennis.
property.
With this game, it's like I think yeah, it's gonna have a lot of planets. Most of the planets gonna be empty, boring places that you're just gonna go to go and get resources. But there are gonna be some planets that are gonna be well thought out. There are gonna be some
Yes.
areas that are gonna be so because it's a Bethesda RPG.
Yeah.
So I know that the role playing of this game is going to be good. I know that the actual role playing of the characters, the cities, the civilizations, the lore, all
Hmm.
that stuff is going to be good because that's what Bethesda's good at. The only reason why I'm worried that it's going to be boring is because of how little we have seen. And we have seen very little. And that
Yes.
scares me because it's like usually when studios have got something amazing, they
Hmm.
cannot wait to show the public. You know what I mean? Even if it's just one small kick-ass feature, they're going to put together a 10-minute like video showing that kick-ass feature. You know what I mean? So it's the lack of footage that we've seen that worries me. So I'm worried about combat for one. I'm
Hmm.
worried about combat because it's like space combat's tricky, and they're going to be using guns, and guns work in Fallout because you can use your VATS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other things like that. So I'm a little worried about the combat. Not worried about the role playing mechanics. That's going to be good. Um, I don't know, man. It's just they better show me something good at this direct, because at the
Yes.
moment it's like at the moment the hype has like reached a ceiling point where the hype doesn't affect me anymore. It's like, okay, cool. This game is now officially overhyped. It better be good, you know?
Well, that's the thing. We'll see June 11th whether. Well, I
Mm.
mean, obviously September 6th when we really will see, but June 11th will give us a better indication of what we're in for. I do think they're
Yeah.
probably spending. So technically, it's not delayed because they never officially announced. Oh, actually, no, it did get
True.
delayed last year. That was official. It didn't get delayed again officially because
Never gave us a date.
they
Yeah.
never gave us a second date. It was supposed to release last year, November 11th, I think. This year they didn't give us a date. They said though it was supposed to be in the first half. Remember they had that whole thing about like
Yeah.
in the
They said
next
first half.
in
Yeah.
and they said that in the next 12 months all these games are coming out. Well, this is one that was in that 12-month window that they moved out of that 12-month window. Um, you know what, people, who have listened to this podcast and watched this for a while, they know like I actually don't mind game delays for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, I think they usually will make the game better. That's usually a good thing. It's not like movies. Like movies, like when you hear about delays and reshoots, it's a lot. It's a lot
Something
more.
bad happened. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. It's harder to fix stuff in movies, because you already shot most of it. All the money's been spent. You're just trying to fix things, here and there. Especially if there's major reshoots, it's usually tough. In games, you got a lot more leeway because you can pretty much fix a lot of stuff. You can't,
Change things last minute as well. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which is pretty good. But yeah, like I don't know. I've got high hopes for the game. You know what I mean? It's one of those games where I have a feeling that when it does come out, you're gonna have to like ignore everything that you've like all the hype that's led up to that moment. You gotta treat it like it's 1998 and the game just showed up at your like local game store and you're just seeing it for the first time. That's how I'm gonna treat the game. You know what I mean? Because if I go into the game right now, like as
Hmm.
I'm overhyped, like the game's overhyped for me. I Even if the game's good, I'll be disappointed. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
It's
That's
gotta
how
be great.
overhyped the game is. Like the game, yeah, it's hit that limit for me where it's like no matter how good it is, it might not be good enough. And I think that's
Yeah,
going to be for a lot of people, you know.
they released a video. Even though it did have some footage, it was very like showing off the
Very
environment.
minuscule, yeah.
Yeah, it
And they
wasn't
showed
like
off the NPC as well. I'm looking forward to the companions and the NPCs, even though they only
yeah,
showed us a robot. I'm sure they're gonna have people as well, you know.
yeah. And then you see like Todd Howard, he's talking, and like there's people are
Mm.
playing it in the back. They're kind of jumping between third person and first person view, and I do think they're probably fixing up the combat. Combat is
I
not
think
something.
that's probably that's probably the thing they're tweaking the most. To be honest, is their like space combat. Maybe not their space combat, like their dogfighting. I'm sure that that's
Mhm,
nailed down. But the actual like their gun mechanics, they've never been known for having good gun mechanics. You know, I
mhm.
mean, except for Doom. But Doom,
Like I
like we
said,
said,
that's
that's
not
id.
that. That's it.
That's not really them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. It's interesting because the previous game that I would say that was as overhyped as this was Elden Ring. Elden Ring was overhyped, and then the
Mhm,
game came out, and it was like
mhm.
everyone was like, "Oh, there was not enough hype. There should have
Yeah.
been even more hype because the game was that phenomenal." The same
Yeah.
thing with Cyberpunk,
So,
dude. That game was overhyped. Cyberpunk
yeah,
2077, way overhyped.
yeah,
I had a fantastic time playing the game. So did you. Most people didn't, and I
yeah.
think a lot of people played the game with minimal glitches, but they just like they were so disappointed because it wasn't what they had envisioned the game to
Yeah,
be.
I think
You know?
it wasn't. I had fun with it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be one of the best games I've ever played, and it just kind of fell into a very good game. That's where it fell for
Yeah.
me. A very good game, but it didn't fall into like where Elden Ring was like. Actually, I didn't have as much high expectations because I had not played any Souls
A lot of
like
Souls-like
before.
games. Yeah.
So it just looked cool. It was my first
Mm.
Souls like, and then it kind of over delivered, and it became one of my favorite games ever. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Expectations mean a lot, you know. In Starfield, I do have high expectations, and they, you know, remember with Fallout and Elder Scrolls, they're trying to make this their third big property, right? Their
Yeah.
third big
The third big
Bethesda,
IP.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
taking their
look,
time.
I will never ever forget the story to Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 has got one of the best stories that one of the best narrative stories I've ever experienced in a game before. And then Elden Ring is a game that I will never forget for its gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I still cannot tell you a thing about that game's lore, but I can tell you where to find what sword or what speed, you know what I mean? I can tell you where to go. I know that map off by heart at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that this game is going to be one of those games where at least I take away something from it, either an amazing story or amazing RPG mechanics, or even if it's just the flying, that's the good thing that I take away from it. I hope there is something that is truly amazing about this game that's going to be taken away. Even if the entire game isn't amazing, which is okay because it's difficult for an entire game to be amazing, you know what I mean? As long as there's one aspect that's really good and fun that I can play, that's I'm happy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Starfield September, I'm okay. And like I said too, the other reason why I'm not so hung up on it is cuz I have so much to catch up
So
on.
much to
Like
catch up on, man.
I'm
Yeah.
still I still haven't finished Hogwarts Legacy. I'm like still I think I'm doing too many
How far
side
are you?
quests. I'm level like 26, but the thing is I
Okay,
think
yeah.
my main quest progression isn't very far cuz I keep doing
It's probably
all
like
these
level
side
10 or
quests.
something.
Well, cuz I
Dude,
haven't even
same. I'm
I
level
have
31. I'm level 31 and I'm so over leveled for a lot of my quests.
I've
I'm
even
just glad that the game the world levels with you. So I've
Mhm.
noticed that like there's a lot of quests I'm doing that I was supposed to do like way back, but at least the difficulty scaled with me, which is good because otherwise I just would have been in there being OP.
I don't think I've even beat the
I'm
second
on my
boss yet.
I think I'm on the last trial right now. How many
I'm
trials have you done?
only one. I'm on the second one.
Okay, you're on the yeah. I think I'm on the fourth
I'm
trial now. I think it's
yeah,
yeah.
I'm just running around doing all kinds of side quests.
That's
Um,
actually what I've been doing for this past week, just because I haven't really been like I've been in the mood for like light gaming, like casual
mm,
gaming. Like I don't have what it takes to get into like a serious story mission, so I've just been doing
mm,
side quests for like a week, and it's and they just keep showing up, Dennis. They never they never run out. You never run
nope.
out of side quests. I actually hit a point where yesterday I was playing the game, and it was for the first time ever where if you go to your quest tab, it was the first time that I didn't have to scroll down to look at all of them. They were all
Mm-hmm.
on one page. It was like the first time since I
Yeah.
started the game. Such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Man, I love that game though. I'm enjoying the beasts and stuff. I'm taking my time with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Catching all the different beasts, looking after them, really enjoying that aspect of the game.
I finally
The game's
start.
huge, man. The
Yeah, it
game is
is huge.
huge.
There's a whole bunch of areas I still haven't seen yet. Like I see
Mm.
on the map, but I haven't been to yet.
Like they're still like grayed out. Yeah, the map is huge, man.
Yeah.
Like if you go like south of Hogwarts, there's so much there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like
Um.
this was the game like that had the perfect amount of hype, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overhyped. It wasn't underhyped. It was just the right amount of hype.
Yeah. And then they're gonna make a second one because
Oh hell yeah,
they
made
made
money.
so much money, and the boycott stuff like we talked about last time was like ineffective. Like it just
The opposite, yeah.
yeah. So
What like I mean, neither of us have finished the game, but would you have to, do you think the sequel would be about the same character or
I think it'd be someone
or like
else. I think a
I
new
think so too.
character. I
I
think
think
new
so too. I
character.
think you'd be someone else, and they might choose another different era again. It'd be
Yeah.
cool to like have different like eras and different stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Steam era, or like, or you know what I mean, or the Victorian era, and
Yeah.
it'll be cool to see different eras of Hogwarts, or even like the one lady, I forget her name, the African lady is it's they call her Natty, which is a horrible
Mhm.
nickname. It's
Mhm.
Natsai, Natsai, I think. She says she comes from like a school in a wizarding school in Africa.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest that there ever is. I'm like, I
That'd be
want to see
cool.
that school.
That'd be
Yeah, I
cool.
want to go to
This.
different wizarding schools. You know.
Yeah. But you couldn't call it Hogwarts. You'd have to call it whatever the hell
True.
the name of
True. Yeah.
the that guy.
Yeah. That's so
But I
true.
but I'd be down for that.
Unless it's like Hogwarts student foreign exchange student program, you know?
And then I think they're gonna make a TV series now, based off of the
Oh
game
wow.
because of the popularity. So
Oh
anyways,
yeah.
I played Atomic Heart for a little bit for like a 30, 45 minutes. It's hard to
It looks
gauge it.
fast paced.
Well, now you speak of it, like it
Oh yeah,
might
you said the
be, but the
beginning's got a lot
beginning
of
is like,
dialogue.
well, the
A
beginning is
lot
just
of yeah.
you walking around for like the first
Oh
30
man.
minutes. So I've only done a little combat, so can't really judge the combat yet because it's very early times. And then, but the one thing though that it does that a lot, including Hogwarts, doesn't do well. I forgot what other game we also mentioned that didn't do performance well, but the actual PC performance on Atomic Heart is very good. Like this frame rates are
Oh
nice and
yeah.
smooth.
The
You get like
Callisto Protocol was one of them.
the
That game
textures
came
are
out.
nice.
Yeah.
Like it's a very optimized experience. I don't have all these because like Hogwarts, I got all kinds of like slow down frame rate glitches. I even remember Elden Ring.
Mm.
Sometimes I would get
Yeah.
that as well.
In the
Um,
beginning they patched it out pretty good to like towards like a
yeah,
month later. I
yeah,
still have issues as well with Hogwarts where it's like I could tone the graphics down a bit, but I don't want to because 99% of the time the game, like on the graphics settings that I have, it's just pretty high. 99% of the time it runs smooth. It's only that like 1% every now and then
hmm,
where it just randomly like lags because it has, I guess, from like loading in all the resources.
yeah.
And
I
it's
get a
like
lot of lags
it's like
from.
areas where I usually like I would walk through the same area, no lag, walk through the same area later and then lag. You know what I mean? Like it
I
makes no sense to me.
I get a lot of lag from bringing up the menu or cutscenes. The cutscenes and bringing up the menu.
Yeah, switching between cutscenes and real life, that's where I get a bit of lag as well. Well, not real life, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Real time. But like I said, that's 1% of the time. 99% of the time, I'm not really. I'm having a great time. You know, smooth
Yeah.
sailings.
Okay, so semi-related, not totally related, but related to what I was talking about. So Redfall had a story trailer come out, and this is
Oh
another
yeah.
reason why the delay of Starfield isn't killing me because Redfall is coming out on May 2nd, and it's coming out on Game Pass, so it's something I've already, paid for or paying for, so that's fine. May 2nd gives me more time to play that, because originally I think, well, actually not. They didn't have a date for Starfield, but people had assumed that it was going to come in like June,
Yeah.
June-ish.
I like the
So,
fact that it has crossplay. That's actually really cool.
yeah.
It means I can play with my buddies who are on PS5. I can play with them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this story trailer. Like I said, these type of FPS games, the first person shooter games, like I like to have some story behind it. I like something that's
Oh yeah.
motivating me to keep going. And this kind of, I remember when Redfall was first announced, I really wasn't that into it from, the like concept pictures and what they were saying. But the
I had
more
no
I
idea what
hear,
to expect from what we saw originally, you know? I had no idea what to expect.
honestly, I thought it looked like they were trying to make like a vampire version of like Fortnite. That's what I thought. Like when I saw it, I was like,
That's kind of what I was getting as well. Yeah,
I was like, is this
and
like Fortnite but like with
it
vampire?
kind
I
of
was like,
piqued my interest in the beginning. Like when that first trailer came out, I was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of like this." And then their second trailer came out, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't like this again." And then it kept having this back and forth effect with me, where it's like because I didn't know what it was, and they kept showing new things, and then I was like, "Okay, is this what?" My idea of the game kept changing so often, and it's like now I know what the game is. I'm, I'm, I'm still excited to play it. I don't think it's gonna like Like I'm more kind of on like the RPG like single player narrative games at the moment, but I still think that I can have a lot of fun with this, especially because it has crossplay.
Yeah, crossplay and it's co-op and it
Mm.
has like open world-ish. I think it's one of those open worlds where it's like 3 or 4 different sections and those sections are open world, but you still have to
Yeah,
like
kind of like
try.
Destiny and
Yeah,
other games like that. Yeah, Outer Worlds as well.
yeah, yeah.
I will say it's another thing where it's like I'm looking forward to this, but also so many games on my. I still need to play Atomic Heart too, and I'm actually looking forward to playing Atomic Heart.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that from what I've seen gameplay wise, it's very fast paced and intense, and I like those kind of games. But I have to be in the mood, like I have to be in the zone and in the mood for it.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
at that point
yeah,
you have to like actually focus on actually trying to like.
you gotta focus. You gotta try hard. You got like games like
Yeah,
that. You gotta try hard, man. That's why
like
I like Returnal, dude. Returnal. I'm telling you right now, Dennis. Returnal. I bet you that they wanted to make that game for PC,
Mm-hmm.
but then they took the deal on PS5 because they needed the money. Because that game is so much better on PC. Like it's on a mouse and keyboard. It makes way more sense on mouse and keyboard than it does on a controller
Mm-hmm.
because of how fast paced it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, Redfall's gonna be sick. It's gonna look. We need a good co-op zombie game or vampire game or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because the Back for Blood was not it, man. That was not
I
good.
had fun with Back for Blood, but I had a problem with it was like easy, easy,
It
easy,
was
and then all of a sudden it was like
glitchy.
really hard. Like it's just
Oh, for
like
me, I played with friends. Like me and a bunch of friends, we got together to play it, and
Mhm.
there's just glitches after glitches.
Really?
Like so many, yeah, so many. Like maybe it was just because of the multiplayer. It was the first week it came out, but there were
Okay.
so many glitches, man. Like people getting stuck on things and getting stuck on each other, and
Hmm.
yeah. We literally I think we literally ended up playing um Dead or Alive 2, like
Left for
literally an
Dead.
hour.
Left for Dead.
Left 4 Dead 2. We ended up playing that like an hour or 2 hours into Back for Blood. We were like,
Hmm.
hell no. We went back to Left 4 Dead. We
Hmm.
had a much better time.
Nice. All right. The official final trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie is coming out.
Mm.
This is looking pretty good. Aside from the whole, Chris Pratt
It
controversy.
just
It's not a
it
real
just shocked.
controversy. It's just people that
Yeah,
don't like his voice.
it
But
just
like,
shocks me that like everybody else does such a better job than him. It's like not like I don't even have an issue with Chris Pratt. It's that it's also like it's lazy. Like he's done better voice acting work, even if it's just his own normal voice.
hmm
Even if he's not really voice acting, he's just kind of acting with his own voice. He's
hmm
done better. Like he wasn't horrible in the Lego movies, but
hmm
it's a bit stale. I can't get over that. And it's like I don't think it would be that much of a difference if it wasn't for the fact that everybody else is killing it. Jack Black is killing it. Uh, Keegan Peele is killing it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Fucking Charlie Day killing
yeah.
it. They're all killing it. They're doing great. Even Seth Rogen,
As
who's
Kong.
basically he put in like zero effort and he still did a better job. I'm still gonna watch the movie though because the movie does look good actually.
Yeah, my friend was hyped for it, and he got like I don't know if you know like AMC A List. Like
Oh
that's like
yeah.
kind of the subscription plan over here for movie theaters, kind of like basically Game Pass for
Mm.
whatchamacallit for movie theaters
AMC
and
Pass. Yeah.
yeah, basically. So my friend like you can if you're connected with your friends, they can like get tickets for you. So he was like hyped for it. So he grabbed tickets for the both of us for
Oh, that's
when it
sick.
opens. So yeah, it looks good. It's a lot of
It looks
Mario
fun,
Kart,
man. Yeah.
Haunted Mansion references.
Smash Bro
Yeah,
references. A lot of Nintendo references, which I like.
yeah. So this thing looks like it's gonna make a ton of cash. You know, we can finally put to rest all the myth of the bad video game adaptations.
Yeah, I mean,
We
yeah, we've
already
already got Sonic. So look, Sonic
Sonic.
2 wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either.
I still
Uh,
enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the
it,
first one, but I still enjoyed it.
same, yeah. I mean, Detective Pikachu, also not an amazing movie, but not bad. Like I enjoyed it. It was entertaining.
Arcane's amazing.
The Last of Us
Last
is
of Us is
amazing.
amazing. Like, so we can finally kind of,
Halo was meh. Halo was
yeah.
very average.
But it could have been awesome. It could have
It
been
could have.
awesome.
I'm really hoping that the Fallout TV show is going to be awesome. Like I
I
think
hope
the Fallout TV
so.
show is going to be really good.
Well, you have
Like
Jonathan Nolan
yeah.
behind it, So that's a good sign.
I
Walton
hope it's
Goggins, one
similar
of my
to The Last of
favorite
Us.
actors, is in there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we got this Sony worried about Xbox sabotaging Call of Duty on PlayStation,
Yeah. This is. I don't
which is
get
funny because
this.
it's like they could. You know what I mean? They're not gonna, but they could if they really wanted to, you
They
know?
wanted to, but
Um,
it's like it's you
but
know.
it's a lose-lose. Like why would you do that? It's literally a lose-lose.
So
Nobody
basically,
wins from that.
Sony is saying the reason why Microsoft shouldn't own, you know, Activision Blizzard. The first one was like, oh, they're gonna block us and we're not gonna have Call of Duty, and then Microsoft said, okay, we'll give you 10 years, and now PlayStation is like another, I guess, avenue against it. It's like, oh well, if they do give it to us, they're gonna like purposely sabotage it and make it suck so that people will go buy an Xbox. Which
No, that would just like that'd be a lose-lose, man. Like, why would Microsoft do that? Like,
yeah.
they would rather make a good game and make the money for that game. Because it's one of those things where like most people you, Xbox and PC outweighs the PS5. You know what I mean? Like the amount of people who are going to be buying it and playing it on PC and Xbox compared to PS5, regardless of like who owns the property, it's always going to be towards a Microsoft side. You know what I mean? There's just more platforms, more people buying it, and things like that. Yeah, I get why Sony's worried and scared, but I just don't think Microsoft would do anything to sabotage a really expensive IP that they essentially just paid for, you know?
And they need to make money on because they're not really gonna
Yeah.
make making on it when they throw it on
It's an
Game Pass for
expensive
free.
deal.
They're
Yeah,
not.
it's a really expensive deal.
Yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was kind of silly.
And considering all their games are like $70-$80, Call of Duty, the Call of Duty games are really expensive. They must really need the money.
Yeah. The next thing, Dead Island 2, which is coming out, I think in April, I believe. They just had not for us, but for other media, they let them play the game for about 5 hours, and the reaction has been pretty positive. The people are just basically saying it's fun. They said it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but it just is fun. It delivers on what you expect, which is beating up zombies with melee weapons and shooting them down. That's what I liked about the first one, was it was different than like Left 4 Dead, right? It's not so much a fast-paced game. It's more about
You can like craft, you can explore, you know what I mean?
Yes. And I do like that it's in LA, which is their LA parody, and like there's a lot of like entertainment like related stuff. They talked about how like there's like supposed to be like these like celebrities in the game, not real celebrities, but they're celebrities in their world.
Yeah.
And like you meet up with actors and see their rich houses and like do missions for them, and you know what I mean. I read one there was like even a streamer. There's like you find like a
cool.
streamer and he's got a whole setup, and he tells you to like kill zombies so he can record it for his stream. That like
his stream.
Yeah. And like you get more points and bonuses for the cooler like you kill the zombies, because then he gets more viewers, and then so
yeah. I'm looking at this extended gameplay footage again, and it just looks fun.
Yeah.
Like the pacing is interesting because it's like I was expecting it to be a little bit more fast paced, but then looking back at like Dead Island, it's not a very fast paced game, really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just like walking and killing. Not really. You're not really like running and killing. You're kind of like jogging and killing, if anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the pacing looks it's a bit weird, but it looks fun. Like it, and I can see what they mean as well. Like it looks good. It doesn't look like the graphics aren't like screaming like, oh my gosh, next gen amazing 4K graphics. The graphics look good, but it looks like they're focused more on gameplay. The gameplay looks fun, and the game is coming out like a week earlier than what it's supposed to. So that's great news, you know. Things are obviously going well for them to like release the game sooner, you know.
On PC though, it is exclusive to the Epic Store. It is not on Steam. So
Yeah,
just
correct.
reminder for people who plan on buying on PC, which I think I am going to do, because I don't have PS5 or Xbox Series
It'll
X
probably
yet.
it'll come to Steam eventually. Most games do.
So like usually like
yeah.
a 6 month buyout or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what it
Whatever.
was. What was I playing? I was playing a game recently that I bought on the Epic Store that just now, like a week ago, got its own Steam release, and that
Mm-hmm.
has been like about a year. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like so that was like a year exclusivity on Epic before it came to Steam. That game, forgot what game it was, but yeah.
S-
Man, I can't believe that Dead Island 2 is happening, Dennis.
yeah,
If
me
you if
too.
you
I'm
if you had
surprised.
to
I'm
tell me
glad. Yeah.
if you had to tell me like 2 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't have believed you 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Not alone two. That's insane. Like that's finally happening. I'm just so excited, man.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, that game, Alan Wake 2 were just two games I just never thought they were going to
Hmm.
make sequels to because the first ones were they were loved by a select people and I was one of those people, but I just didn't think they made enough money that warranted
Yeah,
a sequel. But I'm very happy
that's
that
how I felt. That's how I felt about Psychonauts, and the fact that the sequel came straight to Game Pass too is
mhm,
awesome. Like that
yeah.
was also like a good like 10 or 15 year gap from like the first game, and
Mhm.
they ended on such a big cliffhanger. So like the cult following of all the fans were like so hooked, left on
Mhm.
a cliffhanger. Luckily, and then the sequel that came out like 10, 15 years later picks up like not even a minute after the first game finished, which I like. It's like a perfect transition from the
Mhm.
first game, which was great. But
Yeah.
yeah, love to see it when that happens. Love to see it.
Speaking of like the zombie genre, the Dead by Daylight is getting a film adaptation from Atomic Monster and
Oh, that's actually
Blumhouse.
going to be quite cool.
Yeah, so Atomic Monster
Good
is
slasher movie, yeah.
Yeah, James Wan's company, and Blumhouse is Jason
Yeah.
Blum's company.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, more and more video game adaptations. Look, not 100% of them. Much like not 100% of comic book movies are always great. You know, but I'm glad to see that there's more being adapted, and we're gonna get some that are good, some that are bad. With
Do you
this,
think they're going to go more serious with this, or do you think they're going to go slasher? Because it's like the game is essentially like a like 90s slasher kind of vibe
yeah.
to it. Like that's the essence of the game. It's supposed to be like a slasher film
I,
essentially, you
I
know.
would assume more slasher to it,
Yeah.
just because that's kind of
Well, that's what I would want. Like I
mhm,
want like a Scream kind of slasher film from this, you know what I mean? Something that's like entertaining and has a couple of like shock horror
mhm,
aspects, but then it has like a bit of like melodramatic acting, you know.
mhm,
I'd
yeah.
I'd like that. That'd be quite cool
And
actually.
these are two respected, production houses, Blumhouse and James
Yeah,
Wan.
I was gonna say they're
So,
both they're both big. That's why I ask as well, because the two like especially with Blumhouse, it leads me to believe that it's not going to be a slasher.
mhm,
Like I think it's going to be a lot more serious or like a lot more serious take on it. Maybe like a very serious horror. Not too
mhm,
sure because I just don't see that though. I just don't see those two people doing like a slasher film.
mhm.
I don't see them doing something laid back. It's like all their stuff's usually quite intense, you know.
Yeah. All right, moving on to this one. Well, The Last of Us, the TV HBO series, that the finale was on Sunday, this past Sunday. I know you haven't watched it. I won't spoil anything for you, but
Mm.
I will say the finale is a bit too short,
Oh
considering.
no.
Yeah, it's very short. Especially considering how much time they gave to a lot of episodes. Like you saw episode, was it 3? The one, the Bill's
Yeah.
backstory. Like, look at how much room and how long that was, and how much depth you got into them. And then you got I don't think, have you seen it yet? The Far Behind or the Left
I'm
Behind DLC
halfway
episode.
through episode 5 at the moment.
Is that
Um,
the episode with Riley?
I think so. Yeah.
So like that one, they gave time to breathe, and you know what I mean. So I was a little disappointed that the finale's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's just really short. So it's
That is unfortunate
I was
because
very
like
surprised.
the entire show, at least up until I'm only halfway through episode 5 at the moment. I've been saving it to watch when I get power cuts,
Hmm.
and they've been taking their time with it, which is
Yeah,
the thing I'm enjoying the most about the show at
yeah,
the moment is the fact that they're taking their time with it. You know.
yeah. So I was very surprised that that happened. But I'm looking forward to the second season, which at this rate is not going to be until 2024 sometime. They'll probably end up shooting it at the end of this year. That's my guess. And then they'll probably release it in 2024. But also to coincide with the finale, they delayed the official PC version of Last of Us Part 1, but they also kind of gave some more details. So they had an official PC features trailer that they showed. Obviously it's going to have the Left Behind DLC. It's got photo mode. For me, this is cool. They have ultra wide support because I have an ultra wide monitor, and so I love playing like when I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy or Cyberpunk 2077, and I play the games. It's like I get the full, except for the cutscenes, because the cutscenes are specific to the 16 by 9. I get the 21 by 9 aspect ratio, which is great.
I will say, Dennis, I remember my first take on this was why, when you can just play The Last of Us Remastered, which doesn't really like still looks pretty good. But then I see more and more footage of this game, and I'm like, it does look good though. It does look very, very pretty.
Yes.
And it's gonna look really good on It's gonna look really good at 1440p at 165 frames. Like it does look good. So I think I might actually cave and get the game.
Really?
Even
For me, it's a
own it
price
on
issue.
PlayStation.
I don't have an issue with them making it. And like I said, I think they should have just done part 1 and 2 together and sold it together for that price. But like,
Yeah.
for me, it's like I'm not paying $70 for a remaster, no matter how good it is, a remastered version of the game that I already own and have played. So for me, like, I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale. It's coming out March 28th, which is not that far from now. But it's just, like, I just can't, especially with me having so many games I haven't finished. It's like, why buy it now when I don't have time to play it anyways? And by the time I do have time to play it,
you've got a huge backlog, man. You've got a huge backlog.
Yeah.
Like I've got less of a backlog of games, so I might not get it when it comes out. I'm gonna try to get it when it comes out, but it depends on how I feel in that particular like moment. Because you got to be ready. Like The Last of Us is a game that it's like Hogwarts or any other big game. You can't just like play for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You gotta
It's not Beat Saber. It's not Beat Saber.
Yeah, you got to be ready to like dive into that for like 2 or 3 hours at a time and be ready for it. So if I'm ready for it, then I'm gonna get it. Because watching the TV show has made me want to play the game again. And it's
me too.
It's been a long time since I played the game. I played it when they released the PS4 version, the remaster, the Last of Us remaster. That's the version that I played, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I hope this has multiplayer, because the multiplayer was amazing in The Last of Us.
I don't think it does.
Damn, because that would be sick. I would literally buy it just for the multiplayer experience.
I think they are more focused on the whole multiplayer game itself. Remember, they're making the Last of Us multiplayer game. So
that's gonna be quite cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and in an interview during, because they were trying to promote the finale for The Last of Us, they asked Druckmann about what game is next. Basically, he says Naughty Dog has already decided what game it is, because people were asking, is there going to be a Last of Us Part 3, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I can't really say. He's like, all I can tell you is that Naughty Dog has officially decided what project they're working on next. And the way it sounds like it's not part 3. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not. They would have said so. You know.
Yeah, it's basically
at
saying
least hinted. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm.
And it's probably not going to be Uncharted either. Because they also would have said something about that. So who knows? Who knows what it is? Maybe it's new IP.
I have a feeling it's new IP.
You know what else I forgot is Diablo 4 is coming out soon. There's actually not been too much news about that. There is an open beta at the moment. There is an open beta out. I haven't heard much about that. That's coming out June 6th, I think. So that's like the next big release that I'm looking forward to. Still gonna play Atomic Heart. And have you tried Wo Long?
No, I just played Atomic Heart. I
couldn't get into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried. It's very much like Sekiro. Very much like Sekiro. And I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. Because I loved Sekiro. I don't know. I should try it again. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for like that kind of game.
Yeah. All right. Next thing up is this is the last thing, is the whole Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Basically, the report is, I don't think it's official, but it's a report that it's been delayed. So originally it was going to come out in May, which is coming up fairly soon. But it sounds like, and I heard rumors that it might not even come out this year. I don't know if that's
Oh
true or
God,
not. But
that's a
the
lot. That's heavy.
yeah. The rumor was the end of this year, and then there were some other rumors that were saying that maybe not even until next year. There was a lot of negative reactions to that trailer that came out, basically saying it looked too, free to play online
Yeah,
shooter, looter, loot box heavy type of
doesn't
BS.
look very next gen either. Yeah.
Yeah. So people were not happy about that. They said all the characters kind of looked like they played the exact same. There wasn't any type of, I don't know. They just basically saying it looks like a live service type of game, which I don't get. Is like it's a live service game, but are they planning on charging money for this thing? Like what is the? I had assumed when they first announced it that this was like you pay your $60.
Yeah.
And this
That's
is
what
the
I
game.
thought it was.
And
Like
don't
I
tell me.
thought, I mean, $70 is what I figured it would have been, but I figured it would have been that, like a $70 single player, maybe co-op experience. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's what I want. Like I give me a narrative game. Like the game, like everything that they've shown me looks fun. Just give me like a first player narrative, maybe co-op kind of game. You know what I mean? I don't want a games as a service. I don't want it to be like a never-ending thing. I want the game to have an ending. That would just piss me off if it's a game. There's so many other games as a service, man. Like,
Yeah.
I really hope that that's not the route to go with this. I hope that they give us a full proper game that we pay for.
Yeah. Hope so. Don't want it to be a Battlefield 2042
Exactly.
situation.
And man, I played that game again recently. I think, well, not recently, like probably like a month or two ago, because I think I had a free weekend or something, and it was so bad. And it was like months after, like way after launch, you know what I mean? And it was still just the worst experience. Like that was so bad. It was like I played that game. It was so bad, Dennis. I uninstalled it after like an hour of playing because the glitch, the graphical glitches, the game, it was bad, man. Yeah. So I hope it's not a game as a service game because it looks like it could be a really fun single player game.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that's it on my end. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
Steam Deck is on sale for 10%. So that's always nice.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
If I traveled more, that'd be something cool.
Same,
I
yeah.
don't. I'm at home like 90% of the time. Like, so it's like, what am I gonna do? Just play it in my living room? Like, I got my Xbox in my living room. I got my computer in my office. Like, I guess on the toilet or something. It's like I got a phone.
I've literally got a Switch. Like, if it wasn't for my Switch, I'd probably get one because with the power cuts and stuff, it's something to do.
Well, for you, that makes perfect sense, right? It's like you can play.
Cuts, it's great. Yeah.
You can play something, while you don't have power. But like for me, it's like it looks awesome, looks cool. It would end up just sitting, on my desk and just not doing anything with it.
All right, so a little bit of, like this is a rumor, Xbox Game Pass rumor that a couple of Nintendo Switch RPGs are coming to Game Pass. Specifically the Shin Megami Tensei series, which makes sense to me because they're very similar to the Persona series, and the Persona games are on Xbox Game Pass. Yeah. So it makes sense that eventually these would come over. The last bit of news I have here, and we're probably going to see more about this, is FIFA's kind of approach to the whole, no longer having the game,
Yeah.
But yeah, they're essentially they said that they're going to rival the EA Sports game.
Whatever.
They vow from there's a re-elected President Gianni Infantino. I don't know. The thing is, they haven't even spoken about a studio that they've nabbed up yet. But they're confident that they're going to make the next FIFA game amazing. The best e-game is what they're calling it. Yeah,
the last time I heard a preposterous proclamation like that was when the Cleveland Cavaliers owner had vowed that the Cavs were going to win a championship before LeBron did. This is the first time when LeBron left to Miami. It's like, sure
thing, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Like
Yeah.
it's done. No one's gonna play. Like I said, everyone's gonna keep playing the EA version. It's not gonna be called FIFA anymore. But anybody who plays FIFA, they don't play it. They play it casually, but they also buy it every single year. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And the people that do that, they know what game they're playing. They're not gonna like fall for the trap of being like, oh, look, this game is called FIFA, and they're gonna know it's an entirely different game. They all know that the game that they're gonna be playing from now on is called, I think it's called EA Clubs, yeah, or FC or EA FC
FC.
or something,
I think it's like FC something
FC
like
Clubs
that.
or something, yeah.
But
But
and also
everyone's
they
gonna know that's the game to play from now
yeah,
on.
and they renewed their license with Premier League and stuff. They're gonna have plenty of stuff, plenty
Oh
of
yeah.
stuff. So I don't think it's be too worrisome for them. More worries.
Oh.
Because they still have the licenses to the players themselves and to different leagues. They just won't have. They can't use the FIFA name. They won't be able to do the World Cup.
And no international, yeah, no internationals. But that's it. You can still, like you said, you still got the deals with everything else. You just can't have the international teams, which does suck. Don't get me wrong. Like, because whenever I play FIFA, that's my go-to is just
Yeah.
play internationals. You know, pick a country, somebody else picks another country, and then you guys go for it.
Yeah.
But that is the last bit of news I have. It's been pretty quiet the past 2 weeks, eh?
Yeah, not too much other than that Starfield news. Like I said, you got Dead Island 2 and Jedi Survivor coming out next month. You have Redfall.
Oh,
in
that's
May.
true. Yeah,
May.
Jedi Survivor's coming out real soon. I can't wait for that.
But like right now, there's not too much going on.
Yeah, there is a Steam sale going on right now for anybody that's interested. I think is that they just started.
Okay, let me look at the release schedule. But the
Yeah, this spring sale just started now.
yeah.
Or started yesterday.
So I'm looking at March.
60% off for Gotham Knights, and I'm still not gonna play it. 60% off is still not enough. Man, I think I told you somebody showed me a side-by-side comparison of Gotham Knights and Arkham Knight that came out like years ago, and the graphics look way better in Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Like and the water physics and everything, like everything just looks way better.
You know what's interesting? I feel like, look, you have reviews for like movies or TV shows and video games. I feel like reviews for video games matter a lot more because there's much more of a cash, your money investment and also your time investment. Like, let's say you see a movie or you see a trailer for a movie and you really want to check it out, look cool, but then you hear the reviews that it sucks. You go watch it anyways, and if especially if you have something like AMC A-List, right, where you're not paying any more to watch the movie, and let's say it does suck. Well, you're out 2 hours. You're not really out money. Okay,
Exactly.
that's fine.
Yeah.
If let's say you buy a game, let's say you bought Gotham Knights. I'm not saying Gotham Knights is a bad game because I haven't played it. I'm just saying based on the reviews, let's say you wanted to play it, but you heard it wasn't good, and you decided to plop down the $60-$70 to play it. You played it, and it was very disappointing. Guess what? You just spent like $60-$70.
You're not getting that money back.
Yeah, plus you spent, whatever, a good.
Well, it depends. Like on Steam, you can refund a game. I think within 7 days or something.
I know, but you know how it is. It's like those games.
But then it's
very
still the refund. The refund process is usually hell, and
also
it takes time.
It's also how many hours you play. You can't if you pass a certain amount of hours on Steam. You can't
that's
return
true.
it.
Yeah, that's
and
true,
a lot of these games, you can't tell. They seem fine in the beginning.
And then like 5 hours in or 10 hours in, something happens and then everything sucks. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's just this is random. The Peaky Blinders King's Ransom VR game came out. I think I might play, even though I've only watched like a few episodes of that show. It's a random thing that they decided to make a VR game
random.
for. Yeah, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is so random. Peaky Blinders is great though.
Valheim finally came out on Xbox Series XS and Xbox One. It was already on PC. Yeah.
That's a fantastic game. I don't think it's your kind of game though. You don't, from what I can tell, you don't look like you enjoy survival based games.
No, I don't like. I don't mind gathering resources, but I don't like the constant You know,
Yeah.
like have to go get this.
Valheim's pure community. Like you can play that game alone, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so much better to play with like 6 or 7 other people and make a whole little Viking clan and do things
Mm-hmm.
together. That's what is fun about the game is
Yeah.
running around with your fellow Vikings. But
If I
yeah,
had more time. The Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out on March 24th. That's on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, PC. Crime Boss Rocket City, March
yeah, I forgot
28th.
about that.
Last
What
of
a
Us
random
PC
game.
version. Yeah. Last of Us PC, we said March 28th. Um, let's see here. And then, yeah. Yeah, the Ghostwire. Excuse, excuse me. Ghostwire Tokyo,
I
like you
think
mentioned, coming to Xbox Series X and S on
I
April
think you
12th.
should definitely play that. I know you got a backlog, but you could finish that game in like 2 days.
Well, that
You don't
seems
even
like
have
a.
to. Yeah, yeah. It's like a 2-day game. You could finish that in
Yeah.
2 days. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
even if you don't finish it, like just playing
Just
it for
play
like
it.
an hour or two, it's
Yeah.
actually the gameplay is really fun. The story is like whatever, but the gameplay is really fun.
Yeah. And like that we mentioned before, Dead Island 2 on April 21st and Star Wars Jedi Survivor on April 28th. Redfall on May 2nd. So look at that. 3 games I want to play like back to back to back. Like within 3 weeks. Like
Oh yeah, it's
that's why to
gonna be
me
busy
like
time.
that's why like to me like not having Starfield come out in June is okay with me, you know.
Yeah.
Um
All right. But
Legend of
yeah,
the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out May 12th. That's
That's gonna
something.
suck up like a whole month of my life.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, like in a good way, of course. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like Elden Ring all over again for me. Because that get the it's if
It's
you ever
kind of
get the
how.
chance, I do recommend playing the game, Dennis.
Uh-huh.
Like, but obviously you're not gonna go and buy a Nintendo Switch for it. But if you ever
Yeah.
see like an old Nintendo Wii U, I don't know
Hmm.
if you remember the Wii U. It was like basically
Yeah.
the precursor to the Switch. They're like
Yes.
Breath of the Wild came out on that too. So if you ever see
Oh,
that
wow.
for like cheap, yeah, yeah.
That's
So
weird.
Breath of the Wild came out. Technically, it did come out on the Wii,
Hmm.
but the Wii U, it came out. It came out on both. It was like a cross generational kind of game. So I'm just saying, if you ever do want to play it, you can do that,
Yeah.
or you could just use an emulator and you can
Yeah.
run the game better on your PC than it would on a
That's,
Switch.
that's what I
Dude, that's what most
heard.
people do.
That's what
Most
my
people do.
friend's doing. That's what my friend's doing.
Yeah, literally, like most people just play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in 4K, RTX, like ray tracing and everything on their
Hmm.
PC. You know,
Yeah.
um, I mean, yeah, like I just found out recently that I could upscale my PS2 games to 4K. So I've been playing SSX Tricky,
Hmm.
SSX. I've been playing like all these older games that I've like from my childhood that I love, but they were never good quality. And I find that I can just upscale them to like 4K. I mean, like they're still polygons, but they're very smooth polygons, you know,
Hmm.
which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right, cool. Like I said, I'm still in that Hogwarts Legacy is my new Elden Ring. Like obviously I'm not
mm,
as obsessed with it as I was with Elden Ring, but you know I'm putting my hours and I'm enjoying it and I'm having fun and you know like Elden Ring I was like every like possible moment I would play it, but
oh
Hogwarts
yeah,
it's like
we
okay,
were hooked, dude.
yeah, yeah,
We were like addicted to Elden Ring for a while. We were pretty addicted, dude. We were swapping stories. We
yep,
were hooked, man. I'm
yeah,
pretty hooked to this game too, but not as hooked as I was to
yeah,
Elden Ring.
yeah,
But it's if anything, it's a nice change of pace. Like I love how enjoyable it is. Elden Ring was amazing, but it did get a little too try hard at certain points. With Hogwarts, it gets a little tricky sometimes, but it's always manageable. You know,
yeah.
you never feel like like I've only seen the game over screen like maybe twice. You know, whereas
Mhm.
like in Elden Ring, it's burnt into your mind forever. Like you see the game over screen more than anything else in the world.
Not only that, like you know you're playing those bosses tons of you know what I mean like
Over and
you
over again, yeah.
you get upset and like
That's what I love about Hogwarts is all the puzzles. There's so many puzzles.
uh,
There's always something to like see. And like really for anybody who does play the game or is planning on playing the game, like yes, it's a big open world area, but all the like 90% of the detail of the game is in Hogwarts itself, in the
yeah,
actual castle, in the school. If you
yeah.
just walk around looking at walls and corners, everywhere you look, there's something amazing that somebody like programmed or put effort and time and effort into. It's really incredible.
Yeah. All right, cool. I guess that's it for this episode. You can, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. Also, Anchor.fm, they've changed it to podcasters for Spotify because I think Spotify owned Anchor.fm.
Okay.
And then you guys can find us there. So it should be on Spotify as well now that Spotify has basically just merged the two together. You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Where can people find you, Josh?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. There should be a link in the description below. Once I get to 100 followers, I will go back to active streaming. And you guys can find me in the Revog Discord channel. I'm always down to talk about games, anime, TV shows, anything that you guys want to talk about.
Cool. All right, until next time, see you guys later.
Later.